Hello and welcome to Daily Reflection with Aneel Aranha. Today is the 12th of August 2020. We're going to reflect on Matthew 18:15 to 20. Listen. Jesus said, "If another member of the church sins against you, go and point out the fault when the two of you are alone. If the member listens to you, you have regained that one. But if you're not listened to, take one or two others along with you so that every word may be confirmed by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If the member refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if the offender refuses to listen even to the church, let such a one be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Again, truly I tell you, if 2 of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them." The Gospel of the Lord. Again, truly I tell you, if 2 of you on earth agree about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them. How many times have you heard somebody quoting these 2 verses? Hundreds of times, I'm sure. And although they are true, even independently of anything else, this offers an ideal example of why we should look at context whenever we read something in Scripture. These verses, along with the ones that preceded, are sandwiched between 2 important parables. One of them, as we saw yesterday, is the parable of the lost sheep, which speaks about how it is not the will of our Father in heaven that even one of the sheep be lost. The other, as we will see tomorrow, is the parable of the unmerciful servant, which speaks about how important it is that we forgive each other constantly. How often should I forgive? As many as 7 times, Peter asked. And Jesus said to him, not 7 times, but I tell you, 77 times. Now this passage is titled as Reproving Another Who Sins in the NRSV, or Dealing with a Sinning Brother in the NKJV, or something similar in different Bibles. This leads one to believe, especially if one looks at it without context, as instructions on how to deal with sinners in the church. But placed in its correct context, we see this passage is actually about the church exhausting all possible options to make sure not one of its members is lost. And although correction in the form of tough love might be needed, if Jesus is made part of the process, the offender can be saved. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, Jesus says, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Where have we heard these words before? We've heard Jesus saying these words to Peter a little while back when he said, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." The unstated instruction in these words is to loose, that is to forgive, and not to bind, because to repeat what Jesus said, it is not the will of our Father in heaven that even one of the sheep should be lost. The church, that's us, need to be cautious about how it goes about reconciliation. Our unforgiveness can cause people to be lost, and that is not the desire of God. I know people hurt us, sometimes repeatedly, and in our desire for justice, although in truth it is vengeance, we say or do terrible things. Let us do what Jesus instructs us first in today's passage. If another member of the church sins against you, go and point out the fault when the 2 of you are alone. Do it gently, with a lot of love, and see what happens. If you bring Jesus into the equation and seek reconciliation in His name, wonderful things are going to happen. Go on, try it today. God bless you.